Okay, so what happens, especially now that you're in this position where you've written something and it moves you, and now you've got to hand it over to a director that may completely change. What is that part of the process like? Do they, have you been in a situation where they completely change the interpretation that you had in your head?
Well, luckily in television, that doesn't happen that much. I think the good news is being on set of Our Kind of People, which I've been there for about 4.5 months. I'm about to go back, is that you're working closely with the director and the actors. And so they come to you with questions if they're confused about a motivation or whatever it is. You're there to even rewrite some things if something's not necessarily working, or if the words don't come out of the actor's mouth in the same way that they might normally do it. So I have the ability to work alongside the director and then whisper in the director's ear, and then they deliver the notes. But it's and usually we're way out in front of it because there's been a concept meeting, a tone meeting, a production meeting, and so we've really got the director is in sync with the writer's room on what the intention of that moment is. Nice. So I haven't gotten there. I think the challenges for if you're in a feature film world and you are handing off your material, then it's up to the director to decide what they're going to do. And my guess is there are plenty of times where the director's on a different page than the writer. And I can only imagine how that goes down. But also in the future world, there's multiple writers on things. So you have to, at some point, let it go.
Let it go. You're helping me realize how much TV writing is similar to theater in that way, because with a theater script, you can't change anything, right? Like that is the, the playwright's right, is that the director has to figure it out with every single word on the page and every single intention that the playwright has told them. I never thought about it that way, but I think TV is akin to theater in a lot of ways that film is not. That's very different than film. Even obviously like multicam, you're basically rehearsing in the same way you rehearse a play, and then you're running it live, the same way you would. Okay, so I want to talk about the executive chair because y'all need to get this book. And I'm like, I know, we got to do the yes.
There it is.
It's so
you do the pose.
I like, yes, very serious. What would you say is the most important takeaway that you want someone to have from reading the executive chair?
I think I say it in the front of the book, which is, pretty much anybody can make it. You have to decide what your vision of success is. You have to do the work. You have to decide if this is for you or if it's not for you. But it's the goal is don't get bogged down in imposter syndrome because it wastes your time. If this is what you want, then, make a plan, set your sights to it, and come prepared. And I've seen over the course of 30 some years in this industry, how many people do make it. And again, not everybody's winning an Oscar because there's only 100 Oscars given out, right? It's not like everybody's getting an Oscar. But if that's your goal, then that's your goal. You make that your priority. It was never my goal. But I'm the perfect proof that, look, if I'm a woman of color. I didn't come with connections.
I was gonna say you've got a dentist as a parent and an educator.
Yeah. She's she's got her EED, I guess is equivalent of a PhD. She's a doctorate in education. And she was a dental hygienist when I was growing up. So I had two people in my family who were in the dental field, and you can't get farther away from Hollywood.
Exactly.
Except the people who are making the crowns and I don't know. It's just, I was very, very, I did not have the runway for this. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I did it in the 80s. So I broke in a time when we were not plentiful, women of color with dental skilled parents. It's not, I was like, I was the unicorn. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But it does take commitment. If it's something that you want, you can do it. It does take commitment. You do have to know your craft. If you want to be an executive, you do have to know what that means. You need to take those classes in doing coverage, if that's something that's important to you, or to go work for a company that does what you want it to do. We want to do it in the long run. If you want to produce, go work for a producer. It's the best way to learn how to produce.
Yeah.
So, but this is a business of apprenticeship. So come in knowing that you want to do it, and then do it. There's no excuse. And there's no excuse for, I was talking to somebody recently about the fact that I made the change to go, this is a huge life change for me. And I made it in my late 50s. The first show that I ever got on, I was 58 years old. I'm still 58 years old. Or I guess, I'm 58 now. I got it when I was 57 years old. So you can pivot.
Yep.
And I think that the people who, so that was the takeaway. Let's period that, but then let's move on to, I think the people who I see who are going to struggle a little bit more are the people who want someone to hand it to them. Because I can't network for you. I can't create contacts for you. I might be able to introduce you to one or two people, but I'm not going to introduce you to all of my contacts, because that would be then, my life would be your life.
Yep.
But I think that there are a lot of people out there who think that writing is easy. Writing takes emotional depth and work. It's a craft just like every other craft. If you're going to make belts, you've got to learn the craft. If you're going to, make shoes or floral arrangements, you learn the craft. And I think people sometimes think, I've got an idea, that should be enough. Or I'm going to sell my idea and I'm going to walk away. Well, that's not how it works.
I get with those folks a lot. Yep.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hand in a paragraph, and I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna go retire and just.
And that's not this business. If you want the business, you have to be committed for 40 years of your life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, write a book. Write a one-off graphic novel, I guess. Write a feature film. Try to sell that for 25 years. And if you really want to make it as a working writer, especially in television, then you have to be in it and remember that this is the long game. So when you get in at 20, 30, 40, 50, or whatever you get in, I don't care, whenever you get in, you're building a lifelong set of relationships.
Yeah.
Because we're all playing in the sandbox together for multiple decades. And this is not a one-off. This is not, I'm going to come in with my idea and I'm going to leave. If you come in with a great idea and it hits, they're going to ask you to do more ideas. So you're in it. You're not walking away.
Yeah.
And if you want to be on television, you're going to come in, build a community, and then that community is going to last you for the next gajillion years.
I absolutely love it. And the point on relationships, and that is so much of the work you do with color entertainment and that you did at HBO, what is also just around the genuine relationships, right? And that's why it takes so long, because like, as we said in the beginning, you and I were definitely like, okay, this is but that doesn't mean we're immediately kind of like, hey, you do this. It's still, you're still building trust. You're still, showing that person that you have the kind of, or even developing your community. So there are also folks who do very similar things to me in the industry, and we just don't click, and that's okay, right? And to your point about having come in the 80s as a woman of color, at that time, there were so few opportunities that if you couldn't get in, or then you didn't work well in those early days, like you were kind of done. It was really hard. You still have to work well, and you still have to make good relationships, and people have to watch you be good at your job and show up on time and, you know, and assert yourself creatively. But I say this a lot, the world is now very wide. So if you mess up somewhere, it doesn't mean it's the end. Does mean you got to figure the shit out and know how you messed up and do better. But it is wide, right? And so
Yeah.
there are all these opportunities. And I'll just say,
I think you can fix it too. You can fix it. If you mess up, you can fix it.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you do mea culpa.
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, I'm sure I've done plenty. You know, we didn't get along early, but we get along, you know, now. So, you know, you can always fix it.
Yep. I mean, white men get to fix it all the time. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to fix it. Why not have that opportunity? So we'll wrap up with this, which is that I have some feelings, and I'm conflicted because the book says that it's for TV writers. And I don't think that's fair, because I need this book. No, it must have been hard for you and for your editors, because truly, and I love that it's called the executive chair, because it really is about you know, that Wizard of Oz moment of pulling back the curtain and saying, like, this thing that feels so scary to you or looks so glamorous, and this is what this whole world looks like. And so honestly, sometimes I'm like, it's not fair this says it's for writers, because it really is, for me, the first of its kind that paints this broad picture. And even if it's some TV format focused, or, you know, TV storytelling focused and TV pitching focused, all of it applies to any other thing that you are pitching, or that you are in the position to receive pitches on. Like, any aspect you do in the industry is kind of illuminated by this book. It's so good, Kelly.
Well, thank you. You know, the whole there's a practical reason why we call it a writer's guide.
Okay.
So because I do know that I walk the line between executive and writer, and so there are times when I flip back and forth between writer and executive speak. But when my publisher came to me and said, well, let's talk about a title, and we went around the room on different titles, he wanted to say it's an insider's guide to TV series development. And I said, nobody searches the word insider. I say they search for writer, they search for director, they search for producer, but they don't search insider. No one's thinking insider. So I said, let's call it a writer's guide, because then maybe someone will trip over it.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Well, it's perfect. And so second edition, let's call it a producer's guide, and then the producers will buy that second
Exactly.
edition, and we'll call it a director's guide. Thank you so much, Kelly. This is wonderful. And everybody watch the show, Our Kind of People. Follow Kelly. We've got a Sister Brunch episode with Kelly, and it's so exciting and we're having you back, season 3. I don't know if you've got the email yet. Yes. It's so incredibly exciting to be able to follow trajectories. So she was just getting started with her writing career at the time, and now here you are with a book and a series. So cool.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun. It's always fun to hang out with you.
I know, we got to do it more. I got to come there. It looks so nice. Even just that fake fire looks nicer than what I'm dealing with.
And it snowed this morning up here in Montana. So.
Okay. Get some great reading and writing in, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you.